Hello all, it's Dinosa. It's about, let's see, 1:30 in the morning because I'm trying to get this done because I had a big day at school, and I'm posting a review for John Carter because I watched this while I was doing my schoolwork for one of my classes, and doing well in my school. That's why I haven't seen many postings. I have literally no life. It's all it is really work, school, gym. That's it. Kind of a monk and everything else, but just that's all what I'm dealing with, and it's just stress, stress, stress. But that's the life of a student. Um, I wanted to touch on John Carter because the film actually completely flopped at the box office, and actually, I believe righteously so. The film was okay. I think they pulled a Green Lantern mistake when they shoved millions of dollars into something that really they should have looked at the planning department and said, "This is going to suck, guys." And this is. It reminded me as Disney was trying to compare itself to Avatar, which was kind of original by James Cameron, but I think that's what they were trying to go for with a human twist, but it didn't quite work out. Um, Ironically, the story is actually a typical story. It stars a guy named John Carter, typical fish out of water story where John Carter is a Confederate soldier, which the Union catches up with him and simply tells him they want him to join to fight. And somehow, when he's running from the Union soldiers. He runs into a bunch of Indians. The Indians start chasing him. He runs with the Union soldier into a cave, and inside this cave, he finds this lock. He kills some stranger because thought he was going to kill him, and then he grabs a medallion which transports him to Mars. Now, in comics, this may have been really good, but in a movie, people will be like, "What?" Okay, so some aliens came down or were visiting Earth during Civil War. I mean, if you're gonna do something like that, like Cowboys and Aliens with Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig, I still haven't seen it, but you have to approach it with such cheesiness that it would work. I could say in a lot of ways this movie reminded me of several movies. I can also say that George Lucas obviously got some inspiration on one of these characters, the Genosans, just John Carter thing. Because I believe the John Carter story was actually a older story than Lucas's Star Wars. But I have to check on that. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe it is older. It's based off a book or comic book. But anyway, um, it's several movies really all wrapped up into one. Uh, what it reminded me a lot of is Stargate, which starred Kurt Russell way back in 90, and Stargate was really good. It had its cheesy moments, but it had a scientific edge where they could show it's possible this could have played out. But this movie was just you hold a medallion, poof, you're all of a sudden on Mars, which not as much as Stargate, not as mystical, but it's interesting nonetheless. So anyway, John Carter gets transported to Mars, meets a bunch of green guys, which actually look like characters from World of Warcraft. With tusks come out, so I'm not too sure who got the inspiration. Was it the World of Warcraft people or John Carter? I'm not sure what happened there, but they actually are their own tribes, and they're curious about John Carter because he's so different from the other humans on Mars. Now, what John doesn't know is that he is not on Earth anymore. He's on Mars, but he doesn't know that. The only thing he knows is that he can't stand upright because the gravity's all jacked up. Because it's not the same as Earth, but because he was born on Earth and raised on Earth. When he comes on Mars, he was superhuman because the gravity is lighter, so he can move around faster, and his body was built up for that. Now, the fallacy on that is that what would happen is over time, your body would actually lose muscle. This is a big problem they're facing in space right now, is how do you keep these astronauts in shape without gravity? And they still haven't quite figured that one out. They've tried ideas like electrolysing or electrically just surging the whole body to just, you may have seen like Bruce Lee did a lot of things like, especially on his chest, like just thing to pump his pectorals up. And that's just, that still goes on today with stomachs, chest, arms, whatever. But anyway, he's there, and it's a typical thing. They get into the whole thing about how he bumps into this village people group, and then we get into the backstory where this princess from Mars. Why does it always have to be a princess? Why can't it be the like the bride, not the bridesmaid, but the handmaiden of the princess? Whoops, Star Wars. Kind of touched on that a little. Why does it always have to be the princess? I mean, I know this is stories, but I mean, for once, you'd like to see, like, not the princess, or not even the queen, just someone associated, and even when, I don't know, it's hard to say, just something different. But it's hard because it's romantic and all that. Like, a lot of girls like envision themselves as a princess, and this is Princess of Mars. I mean, I never understood in this Hollywood. A majority of princesses in Hollywood are these fine women. It doesn't matter if you're animated or or real. It's just you're fine. And if you're not, you're intentionally look stupid, like just fat, ugly, just that. And it's not. It's weird. It's weird. So anyway, the Mars. I mean, here we have is the Mars princess who speaks an English accent, but looks like she's tanned in Miami, running as princess. And part of this, the typical story, is that for her to save her people, she has to marry some dude. Well, beyond the story, there's this other group, which is more like the Illuminati, the group telling. Which later on explains, I don't want to ruin it all, but later on explains what's the whole purpose of the wedding and everything. But they're playing behind the scenes, which is how John Carter got the medallion. He killed one of these guys, took the medallion, said the words, on to Mars, and he didn't know. But he lost